Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am w.i.t.c.h.aholic. I talk mostly about witch, but a lot of other things. So this is the 8th part of Which Doesn't Make Sense. So now I'm talking about the 4th arc, and unlike the previous arc, this is one story, but it'll probably still be a longish video because there's a lot to talk about. Now, again, I'm not going issue by issue. I'm just talking about mostly the main points, but I will be talking about some specific things in the issues, probably in order. Um, Maybe not for all of them, but again, like the main points. Okay, so first of all, we see the Oracle is being put on trial, right? And the Guardians are called to testify. And of course, this just brings a lot of questions. I mean, yes, the Oracle interfered by erasing the agent's memories, but again, they were going to expose the Guardians and probably do who knows what. And the Guardians are the ones who protect the universe, right? It won't be any good for the universe if they're being chased by their government or whatever. So to go on, so to use that as an excuse to put the Oracle on trial? Really? And again, also the people in Kandrakar are supposed to be the wisest. And yet it's so easy to convince them that they need a new oracle because the current one did something to protect the Guardians? This is a lot of crazy stuff. And again, such a wasted opportunity to explore, you know, you know, the Kandrakar and how inept they are. And just imagining, imagine if we got an arc or two about the history and why they're not so wise now, and therefore, worlds are kind of rebelling and making their own governments, and they have to deal with that, and maybe get rid of the old council, start a new one. No, it's just so weird how these people who are supposed to be the wisest are really not. And again, they're supposed to be watching over the universe. They're not really doing that. And really, what is the point of them? Because again, also the Guardians are only sent when there's something really, really major going on that actually threatens the universe. So what about again, they only were called when Ari was actually threatening Kandrakar. So what about when there's a natural disaster or civil war happening on another planet? They're not called because it's not threatening the universe? But then does Kandrakar do anything to help those people? It's what is with? And again, Andarno, who we later find out is Phobos in his body, going to talk about now, again also convinces the council that Elion must be evil because her brother is, and she's unfit to rule Matamor. What? first of all, like, there's no evidence of that. Second of all, um, so who exactly is supposed to rule the planet if they imprison Elion? Like, this is how civil wars get started. You know, when you just get rid of the current monarch. Like, they're just gonna appoint Caleb as king or something? Like, what? This is so weird. And we also see Orub, who's living on Earth for some reason. I don't think there's a reason given in the comics. But I mean, I like her. I'm glad we see more of her. Also, it's good for the Guardians that she's staying on Earth this time. But again, it's like, but the Metamorian characters, who again, they're like the best. Again, they're the ones, again, who, like, we were first introduced to. Again, they don't appear so much again. And now Orub is getting, like, more time than most of them. And again, like, we're only seeing Elion because, you know, the Guardians have to protect her, and we don't see, like, again, how she's ruling the planet and dealing with that, and we don't get to see her use her powers. Like, and then of course, you know, Orub, we don't see Orub again after the fifth arc because she's so heartbroken after Cedric's death. And then of course later arcs not only introduce villains that only appear for one arc, they're just so atrociously written. I mean, what? I just have to go on a little rant here. Like, what is with? Like, I know the original authors left early on because there was tensions between them and Disney, but they still left behind, you know, issues. But they still, like, wrote the beginning. Disney really couldn't do anything intelligent with that. It's not like people at Disney don't know how to write good stories. I mean, they have some of the best movies and TV shows for kids out there that are just, again, just so well written and enjoyable. Like, but all of a sudden, when it comes to Witch, they're just so bad at it. Like, at writing for it. Also, again, Witch was really popular back then and is still beloved by all us adult fans. So, like, why weren't they, you know, trying to write, you know, do something well? Why weren't they trying to, like, really do something good with it and have intelligent story arcs and bring back the popular characters? What? Just imagining now if they actually had well written story arcs and really made everything make sense, like it might be going now to this day, or maybe they also had the TV show much better and have gone on more. Maybe we would have had spin-offs. Someone really needs to petition them. Like, it is so strange. Like, if anyone has more information about this whole thing, please write in a comment. Again, so, again, so now, of course, they're going to summon Elion to Kandrakar. which again, we're introduced to these white heralds, which apparently are their messengers. And again, it seems like Elion apparently knows what it is, and they're like sent around, I guess. But like, we don't really see them later on. We're not really explained. They're not really explained, when they're sent and how they function, right? So Elion learns like she has to give up the crown. Again, like, first of all, how are they so convinced like she's evil? Like, what exactly? Just what? Like, she's the light of Meridian. And, like, who do they think is supposed to rule Metamor then? You know? Um, and again, and Darno is like convincing them that they need new guardians, which, again, and we actually see later like auditions, like, and we see these warrior women. So, first of all, I mean, that means they could just pick and choose, like, at any time, even though, because again, the girls, they have done really great at their missions. So how could the council be so behind this, to replace them? And again, so, but in the beginning, again, it seems like the Guardians are like destined, but now we see like they could just choose anyone. Like, what's going on? But they're given, one last chance, and they have to get the Crown of Light, and it's protected behind a magic barrier that the girls, can't break. And again, like, what is the power level? Like, yes, the light of Meridian is supposed to be so powerful, but these are the guardians of Kandrakar who have to protect the universe. And again, they have the heart of Kandrakar, which is supposed to be the super powerful item. So that means the light of Meridian is more powerful than them? Like, how? Also, it seems like the crown, enhances, the light's power. As we see like in the 12th issue. So even without it, the light is just so much more powerful than the Guardians. What is with? But of course, they don't want to arrest their friend, so she's, hiding on Earth, in Orup's house. But again, like, I'm just wondering, like, again, if she's so powerful, couldn't she have, like, resisted? I mean, though, given how Kandrakar is, I mean, I guess they would have taken her by force or something, but, like, I don't know. It's just nuts. And meanwhile, of course, they decide, the Oracle's on a fit, so they sent him back to Basiliade, apparently with his memories wiped. Like, just what is the point of that? And again, so, and Darno is chosen, but apparently he doesn't have the full powers of the Oracle yet, which is good for our heroes, but like, come on, and he has to wait until a ceremony? And first of all, we see him comment on how much power this body has, Darna's body. So, like, do people not get all these powers when they go to Kandrakar? You know, whether they're alive or dead, or or are they chosen because they're so powerful? How does that work? And again, we see like he's spying on the girls, but Elion again uses her powers again without the crown, and she's like blocking him. But again, he's like, he has some of the Oracle's powers already. So, like, what's the power scale here? You know, it just doesn't make sense. Oh, and we also see again, Phobos as Adarno goes again to this place in Kandrakar that, again, we don't really know anything about, and apparently has like magic butterflies that can erase basically everyone's memories of you. And he first uses it against Cornelia. And not only does it erase like her parents and everyone's memories of her, like all the pictures of her vanish from their house. Her room is like now magically an office. Like, whoa, like, first of all, again, why would Kandrakar have something like that? Like, and like, wow, like, and also again, this is really not explained. And again, this really, and we also again see much later in an issue they have all these, a room with all these magical objects. So on the one hand, you know, Kandrakar, again, in all these later arcs, Kandrakar needs the Guardians to save them, but they have all these mystical, powerful objects, and again, this room of butterflies that can erase people's memories like that, but they can't defend themselves, like from Dark Mother or anything, and they need the Guardians to save them, but who are using the heart of Kandrakar? Like this makes absolutely no sense. And then, and so we actually see again the like dragon statue from in front of the silver dragon comes to life to take the butterfly before it could touch the others. And again, this is never brought up again, never explained. Like, come on. You can't just put something in like that without explaining it. You know? Also, Elion decides that again, you know, she doesn't want to hide forever, so she wants to go to Kandrakar to like to talk with them, and she recognizes again, like, because she could see from the eyes that it's Phobos, you know, and he convinces them to imprison Elion again, who has done nothing to to who has done nothing evil. So what? And then also she's apparently imprisoned in this place that drains magic. Like what? And then Elion, gives her power to Yang Lin when she visits her, and she gives it to Will to store in the heart. So apparently the heart can be used to store like magical power. Does that mean Will? And we know it absorbed the seal of Phobos, so I guess depending on the will of the keeper, it can absorb or store power. And again, does that can also do that to physical objects? Can Will just like use it to shrink and carry, like her books or anything? And there's a funny part, the light is so strong that it wakes up Susan, who thinks it's morning already. Um, you know, and we also see again that Andarno was like the keeper of the tower. So Phobos managed to, with his hatred and everything, managed to conjure up a spark of power that's enough to switch minds with Andarno. Again, so I guess like what he could power himself like with negative emotions, like again, what that he's like the heartless or something. Like this is not explained. Like his powers in general are not explained. And like again, I would think Indarna would have been able to. Wouldn't he have been able to like defend himself from that? Also, again, see like first of all, we don't see him getting food or water, and it looks like there's no bathroom. So, does being a prisoner in Kandrakar or living there automatically mean that you don't need to eat or anything? Because again, we know Yanglin's dead, but the same goes for the congregation. Like we know Yanglin is a spirit now, but the other people seem to be alive, and though they have, parties now, it doesn't seem like they need to eat. Like, what's going on? And again, they're just in the Tower of Mists. It seems like the prison. It's like reflects you. So we see Phobos, like his prison is ever changing. I forgot why. And Cedric, tells all these lies. He can all his room is filled with books, I think, that contain only lies. Like, and yet this is where the most powerful, dangerous people are held. Like, this makes absolutely no sense, and they don't even try to rehabilitate them, especially given Cedric is given a second chance in the next arc. Like, I'm just thinking they could have had, again, maybe kept, Phobos something like in the cartoon, like in a secure prison, but like Alien visits him, tries to communicate with him, tries to rehabilitate him, and we could see slowly over the next few arcs he's becoming more like an anti-hero. We learn about his past, but they don't do anything like that with him, and then like Cedric, is in the next arc, but not Phobos. Like, Why? And again, like this prison, so there's like who knows, does that mean there's who knows how many people just in prison there, not getting a chance? And again, Kendrick Carr is supposed to be the good guys. Oh man, I need this to be rebooted so badly. Again, the original comics are being reprinted, and they're not done yet. But anyway, again, it does take time to get TV show written. I really need this to be rebooted. Again, hopefully in a TV show, and again, sticking closer to the comics, but making sense. And so we also see he recruits Cedric, who, by the way, is like at this point loyal to him, but again, later on we see he's like planning to betray him. So again, that's not explained at all, really. We also see again Cedric attacks Will and Matt when they're on a date. But again, like, so it seems to be the carnival that we know was abandoned. So it seems to be the abandoned carnival that was all the way back in issue 11. But there's, again, Cedric does this illusion. In fact, we actually see him handing out flyers to paper that only for Matt it looks like, the reopening of the carnival or something. And then when he and Will go there, we see like people are there, the rides are running. How did Cedric do that? Like, I guess Phobos gave him the power to, but again, that's like a pretty big illusion. And like, I don't know, it seems like a waste of power. Like anything. I mean, Phobos can, he's like pretty powerful. He couldn't have cooked up anything nasty, though. Again, even using Inderno's powers, like, it'd been good if we saw him use Inderno's powers, how to use them. And so then, of course, there's Cedric is attacking them. So Matt falls. I don't remember. I think he's blasted. So Will yells, "Save him!" And the heart, again lets out, a bubble to protect him. Again, like, this doesn't get brought up later when she's like, so does that mean Will herself could do that? And yeah, it's kind of stressful, but you think later after all this she would have remembered, or also they knew how to teleport at that time. And also apparently, for some reason, after saving Matt, the heart floats down to the floor and is powerless. So Cedric could take it. And he says to Will, "Ordinarily I couldn't take it by force, but you didn't say no, did you?" First of all, again, like, that, it shouldn't have that loophole again. Like, hearts, especially when it comes, like, to the heart of Kandrakar, it shouldn't have that loophole. And again, why would saving Matt means it loses its power? But then, of course, Matt attacks Cedric, and since it's apparently an act of love, it powers the heart up again, which gets rid of Cedric. What is this? And then, of course, Will has to tell Matt what's going on. And yeah, he takes it pretty well. But again, we see in the later arc, in arc 7, apparently he's working for Kanjakar, so. Like, what? What is going on? I mean, and again, like, this is Disney, who we know is capable of writing such great stuff. So, really, what were they thinking? And then, right, so Elion is, again in the prison. Now, the Oracle is Basiliade again. He doesn't remember who he is. Which is very weird. Like, why would, when you choose the next Oracle, why would you erase the memories of the previous one? And then to just send them back to his planet like that with no memory? And now Yalin comes to him in the form of a giant turtle and, somehow gives, I think it's Yanlin who does that, and she somehow gives his memory back. We also see Orub is sent to retrieve him. So we see him later on Earth disguised, which is pretty funny. And yet we see later, like, this whole experience humbled him, and he actually, treated the girls better. But again, this makes no sense. Right, so together they're planning to, like, storm Kendrakar and rescue Elion, but it seems like he has some powers, like mind control or something. So again, how does that work? Like, he naturally had those powers before he became Oracle? Like, it's not said. Also, because Will got Elion's power, she was able to get the crown, and then they put it on Elion's head, so she overpowers, like, the magic of the prison. Which again, how powerful is this crown? Like, this is Kanshakar we're talking about, right? And again, like, she's already naturally powerful, so. And so that when the crown boosts her powers, she's like, who knows how, again, like, even if the crown's so powerful, like the Oracle, right, is supposed to be the most powerful. Kendrakar is supposed to be, like, again, this most powerful place. So again, and just, and yet there's this crown, again, that's just mega powerful. And again, even without it, she was like, beat the Guardians, when they were enemies. Though maybe after, they're more experienced, it's more uneven footing. But, like, just what is the power scale here? It is so strange. And again, like, I would like to know more about the crown and everything. But anyway, it turns out that it's Cedric disguised as Elion, so he's able to, like, bless them. But again, I would think that something like the crown would realize that it's not the owner, it's not, Elion, and it wouldn't work for him. Right? I mean, we presumably, like, it didn't work for Phobos because it wasn't the heir. So does that mean? But then again, Phobos was able to curse it, and I guess a glamour can fool it, but it's supposed to be so powerful. Like, what is going on? Also, so can anyone who's a shapeshifter again look like anyone? Or Cedric can do it because he has these powers? Like, and again, we're not really, again, told about, like, Cedric's powers. He, like the girls and Phobos, he just seems to have more powers every time we see him. I mean, I think this would have been a great way for us to learn a bit more about shapeshifters in general and him. Like, what's going on. And of course, he Phobos is about to be the Oracle and get the full powers, but we see Cedric betrays him, and he says again with the crown he could destroy Kandrakar. How powerful is this crown? And again, it's just him who doesn't have nearly as much power as Elion. And again, Kandrakar is supposed to be, the place that watches over the world. So if worlds, we think it would have the most power, and yet anyone with the crown could destroy it. Though Elion is able to take it because it's hers. And then, I think before this, again, Cedric is betrayed by Phobos, so I guess that's why he betrays him. But again, he was like so loyal. Like what caused this? And so I think Cedric is put back in prison, and the Guardians come up with Indarno, and they switch minds. But I think Phobos says, like, no, will destroy us. Oh, actually, before this, Phobos as Indarno teleported Will to where he was, and tried to take the heart by force. And Will resisted. Also, yeah, he tried to convince Will that in the future, Matt dumps her, her friends turn against her. So, like, again, why didn't he do that before instead of having the whole scheme with the fake carnival? Right? And then, so the Guardians, come up with Indarno, they switch their minds back, and they show everyone that it was Phobos. And since he refused to be taken prisoner again, Phobos again goes to the eternal void and throws himself off. I guess he knew that because in Indarno's body, but it's Irma who says so. He'll just be tumbling forever and ever and ever. So again, how does she know? Also, so he'll be tumbling forever in this void. So does that mean he'll die eventually of starvation? Or he'll just be there alive forever and ever, and he won't need food or drink? Again, Kantrakar's supposed to be the bad guys. Like, you would think that the Oracle would still just, like, teleport him out of there and say, like, nope, you're going back to prison. Or at least, or and he'll be, again, much more guarded, or he'll give Elion the option of, like, bringing him to Meridian in a special prison, and she could try to rehabilitate him. But no, they're just letting him tumble forever and ever in this space. Like, that is so cruel, you know? And again, if he dies, that means there's a dead body under Kendrick forever. And if he can't die, again, that's just cruel. And again, this is Phobos, the first and probably the best villain. And he's not brought back, like, ever. And it's not really like he's dead. Again, he's just tumbling in this void. So they couldn't have the Oracle just step him back to prison so they could use him again, and hopefully in, like, a redemption arc or something, right? Especially given the horrible villains. By that I mean horribly written villains we got later. But, like, they could have just used Phobos again. I mean, it could be a bit tiresome to use the same villains, but it depends how they're written. And again, they also could have had, like, their identities revealed on Earth, in between and stuff like that. Like, it's just so weird. Oh, also before this, again, we see Cornelia gets the breath of time from Indarno, but again, which helps to, like, which freezes time when they leave. But again, because it's given to her by an evil being, it doesn't work. So Matt and Orup have to call their parents and make excuses. But again, like, I don't know, that doesn't really make sense. Also, we learn later, when they go to the Chamber of Spirits, that only the previous owner could touch it. So how was he able to get it in the first place? And then after all this happens, again, we see, like, turns out Phobos managed to curse it. And so, like, when there's, like, a crack in it and the sand comes out, somehow he's, like, reborn. And again, like, how powerful is this? We see, like, the memories happen, like, Elion, or I guess, like, a memory of her appears. Tarani somehow brought back to Meridian in the past for a bit while she's in the bathroom. What is going on? Like, how powerful is this? And again, why do they need the Guardians if they have all these powerful objects? Like, why can't they just get a team of people with this and all the other objects to maintain order? And again, I'm like, we're not really told much of how this works. So again, Phobos, or like a memory of him, goes to Orup's house and knocks her out. Again, like, really, how did he get there? How did he know where to go? And he's Phobos' evil essence. So again, does that mean, like, so Phobos' evil is not evil, so he could have had a redemption arc? if the Oracle zapped him back to prison or something, he also has his powers again. But it's like a memory, right? Also, Phobos made it when he was in Darno's body. So how did he do that? And then of course we see when the Guardians transform again. They're still, even though they're more experienced, they're no match for him. In fact, he ties them up in their own elements. Even Will, who again has the heart of Kandrakar. So again, he's more powerful than the heart itself. And again, also, how do these elements work? Again, they have power over the elements from the heart, which is supposed to be this powerful object. And it seems like he has control over all of them, but he's more powerful than all five guardians together and the heart, because again, the heart's not coming out of Will to defend them. But again, it was able to swallow the seal of Phobos. So, what is with it? And then, of course, he's defeated because I think Napoleon knocked the pendant into the fish tank, so it couldn't materialize. And then the Oracle again is able to reset it, so these events didn't happen. So apparently he could control time. I think he might have used the breath of time, but again, with or without that, he could control time, but they needed the veil to stop Phobos. And that didn't even stop him, it just prevented him from. Didn't really stop him, he just couldn't conquer other worlds. And then Cornelia says she doesn't want it. Again, yes, Phobos gave it to her, but since they don't have astral traps, they need it. And again, as we see later, each of these objects have a backup, right? So I think they destroy it, but it's regenerating in that room. So that could be really useful, but yet even after it regenerates, she doesn't want it, and they don't give her the option any other time. What? There's also a point we see Irma, Helen, and Terani are feeling upset because they don't have magical objects. Meanwhile, Will has the heart, Cornelia has the breath of time. Again, shouldn't they have been given also their own objects so they could defeat their enemies easier? Okay, and that is it for Arc 4. And again, almost 50 minutes, so I'm not gonna do Arc 5 now. And it seems all the other arcs I'll be doing by themselves. Because it takes a long time to talk about all this stuff, even if it's just one story and not three in Arc 3. So again, I'll probably have a few more this week. I should be finished next week, and then I'll continue with my what I liked about the cartoon. And then after that, I want to start my how I would reboot which videos, which will probably be a few of them. So they might be in November or December. Looking forward to it. I love to hear your thoughts on how you would reboot which, and if someone could start a petition, maybe it could actually be rebooted soon. Someone please start it. Okay, and I will see you later.